Rich. For everybody that doesn't know me, thanks for coming. I've been a professional creative, if you will, for the last 10 years, running my own companies as a graphic designer and as a photographer, working with a lot of clients from national to international to very private, close-knit community groups. In the lines of photography, in the lines of this talk, it's going to be able to show the models on how to better pose, and then also photographers on how to better pose the models and what to look for within the models when they're shooting them. There's Photoshop, there's all the after programs that you can do with photos, but we're going to give you tips on how to do it right the first time, so you don't have to spend 2 or 3 hours on the post-production work with all the photographers here. Hang on here. Good? And so, and this is Kristin, don't know.
Hey.
She's a mom, she's a kick-ass person. With entertainment networks and the industry, I guess, if you will. She knows a little bit about both sides. She'll be definitely helping with some of the tips at the very end as well. So, to get started, first I want to talk about the general health with photography, with modeling. As the models and photographers, you can pass these tips forward to the models when you are shooting them. A lot of them is, I know, is kind of unreasonable, but try to get some good sleep before he shoots. I've walked up to models a lot of times, and I can look in their eyes, and I can tell if they've had 2 hours of sleep or 10 hours of sleep the night before just because of their eyes. The eyes are going to be the way you're going to be able to see the models. That's going to tell the story. You're looking at a person, you're looking in their eyes, that's going to be the most captivating thing, regardless of what they are or are not wearing. That is irrelevant. To help with that, also get plenty of water beforehand, the day beforehand and the day of. That'll fill up a lot of the lips, especially with the dry weather here in Colorado. If someone hasn't drank enough water, you can definitely tell. I don't care how much chapstick, lipstick you put on, if it gets cracked, it comes through in the photos, not the best element. It also helps with it get a little more fuller in your skin fills out a little better. Also, if you have tan lines or tight straps, bra straps, underwear, tight clothes, if you lose those or you remove any of those elements when you're...
Socks are the big one. You end up with the lines on your legs from the socks.
Without plenty of water in your body, you get those lines, so the water definitely helps. So that's...
Not enough water. You have sock lines.
Some of the general health tips right off the get-go. All right, we'll do a couple. We're going to talk about just the general body positioning, elements with the models when they're sitting down, then also when they're standing up. Then also talk to the photographers about what to look for, some general respects, some things to look for, how to instruct models just to basically grow as a whole. Big thing on body positioning is posture. That's going to be the biggest thing. I cannot emphasize that enough. I always tell the models, I always say 2 inches. That means if they're sitting down or standing up, yeah, always ask to. Right here at the hips, add 2 inches to your height. What that does, it brings the body positioning from here, from slouching to 2 inches taller. Brings everything up. And the whole upper body comes up, it brings up you as a person. The energy is going to be here. This is going to be your pretty stuff, regardless of what you are or are not wearing. If you don't have a good smile and a good eyes looking into the cameras, they're good shots. So when you're set, several things with legs. If legs are crossed, you always want the one closest to the camera, closest to the viewer, always going to be on top. Some of these are very elementary tips, but some people don't know them. If you cross the legs the other way, it just looks like it for sure. It just looks like crap. And the reason being, if you switch the legs the other side, what you do is you're going to get that whole line, you're going to get the whole elongation of the body.
Angles rather than just one.
You watch anybody on any newscast, anything, that you'll see that industry-wide, just a general tip when models are sitting down. Also, for the photographers and for the models, if a model's sitting down, if the models are sitting down and you've got a line right here, if you got a line of sight down the inner thigh from a photographer, or if you're a model and a camera person has a line of sight down the inner thigh, move. If the camera people move with you, take it for what you meant. Be careful with that, because when you're, as a female, when you get modeling, guys, it's not as much. that even if you have jeans on, skirt on, anything like that, if you got any line of sight down the inner thigh, there's not good shots to come. And I'm looking out for the aspect of the models, especially at the jam. The models are first. The models aren't here. None of us are here. From creatives, from photographers. So just things to be aware of. Also, when positioning as a model, you're looking right at the camera right there. If there's a camera line that goes straight towards the center of the chest, move. It's never flattering for a woman, regardless of how chesty you are or not, to have a straight-on shot. A slight little degree, 10, 15 degree turn makes all the difference. It brings out the whole nature of the body, the whole of you. And that's kind of what I need. Hand positioning. Things with hands. When your hands are on your legs or arms, this also works when you're standing up as well. Generally, keep your fingertips closed. You can have a thumb back, you can have it forward, but generally back. But keep your fingers closed. A lot of times in photos, you'll be like this. You'll tend to open them up. You're not like wanting to grab and hold. Generally, just keep them closed. Also, on the lines, on females, if there's a line down the center of your thigh on both sides, don't put your hand past it, ever. The difference being outside, inside, that line, it goes way too provocative, way fast, kills a shot. Just be careful with that. As well as photographers, stuff to look for. Models hands start slipping through. It's going to come out as a shot like they're reaching around towards stuff. That's a whole other shoot. So just be aware of that. We'll go up to the standing elements. Couple big things. Right here, add 2 inches up every time. That's going to do is going to improve your entire posture. By doing that, abs come in, chest comes up, shoulders come back, which clears up this whole line right across the upper part of the chest, clears up any necklines. If you're turning, you're twisting it at any angle, that extra 2 inches and the posture coming up, you'll lose those lines that fast. Turning sideways and you pull up, pulling back gets rid of lines that fast. It's an important tip to know, but it's all, like I said, all about the posturing. When you're looking at towards the camera, never have hips, chest, head facing the same direction ever. What you do when you're doing that, you're getting a nice block element. You don't get the curves of the body. You turn a little bit of sideways, and your chest towards the camera, shoulders back, you get a little dynamic, little torque twist in the body. That's going to do is it's going to drop 5 to 10 pounds immediately. And what that does is with the dynamic twist of the body, when it's shifted, it brings everything up to here. Everybody's individuals, every model, everybody's different. Standing up, bringing the best light to you forward will help. By doing a little twist turn, pulling up, boom, it makes all the difference. Come on in. That's my brother. Okay, sorry.
You want one, but point it.
In lines of feet positioning, this is definitely another one. You might know this. Runways with modeling, always have foot positioning towards the camera or general audience into the runway. Reason being, if the feet are both pointing towards me and the whole body, everything's looking that way, the feet direction says that person's over there. By simply taking a foot, pointing it outwards, it goes right out there to acknowledge the audience, acknowledge the camera. As a model, that's something just to basically put homage forward.
Well, and doing it this way, then you end up with a solid line all the way down. You're not getting any variation with the hips and the shoulders. If both feet are pointing that way.
So the general twisting of the body idea as well is just to bring the attention here. This is the important person. They're everybody's prop. They're no accessories. They're not just models. They're people. They're just like all of us. Everybody's got a little individuality to them. What we want to do is be able to bring you forward, to bring your best light forward, to make you look your best, regardless. And this goes whether you're modeling for body painting, you're modeling with friends, you're going out for a party and just shooting. To see a camera, you'll learn to spot them, and all of a sudden they come around and be like, aha. But the shots come through, and there's a presence that comes through that is very nice and very powerful. See, general thing with hair, something we want to be careful about. From the photographer's perspective and also from the models, if there's a hairline going across the eyes, unless there are very specific shots with a very specific intent, you try to not want to do that. And
No precedent for this.
not that bad. Reason being, if there's lights coming off from either side and there's a little hairline going across the eye and there's a hairline shadow going across the eye, the shot's done. In the works with model agencies and all the years, there's a hairline or a shadow line going across the eye, shot's gone. I don't care how good it is, if there's lines going across the eyes taken away from the beauty of the eyes, shot's gone. So just be aware of that, lines of keeping hair back, pulled back. You don't have to have it back all the way off over the ears. Some people are a little conscious about their ears. I got really small ones, I know. But I don't care. So you can have just a little bit, just a couple streamers of hair. If you have your hair pulled all the way back, just a little bit covering up. If that is your comfort level, that's just something to be aware of. But when you have your hair pulled all the way back, if anybody's conscious at all about their ears, having it pulled all the way back will shut. So, general tips. Eyes. This is one of the most important things. Eyes make or break any shot. Smiles, if they're appropriate for the environment, for the shots, whatever you always help to. But your eyes make the shots. If you're tired, the shots just won't show, won't shine you as best as possible. Something you gotta be careful with eyes. You gotta look at the body. There's a center line coming right off the nose, going forward. You never want to have your eyes more than 15 to 20 degrees off that center line of the nose. For the aspect, if the head's turned this way, someone looks that way, there's all this negative white space on the back side of the eye, which overpowers the eye from a photographer's perspective. It's just not good. It looks like someone's straining or reaching to get to you versus a simple turn that way and you look at it. Get a little white on both sides, fills it in. From the model's perspective, it's just something to be aware of. But from the photographer's perspective, it's something to look for. If someone's having issues with their eyes and they're turning this way and they're straining to look that way, just have their upper body shift 5 degrees. Takes care of that fast. That's a big thing to be careful of. With eyes, a fun trick that'll go with all the photographers as well. Any model, at any level, male or female, can pull off any type look. They can pull off ultra pissed, ultra aggressive, ultra sexy, comfortable, like they just got their little niece or nephew in their hands. They can pull all those looks just this fast. And the way to do that when you're talking with the model is to tell them just to breathe. Relax, don't get worried about the cameras, just relax. Have them close their eyes for a minute. The shots for the eyes will come from within here. If you're pissed, it'll come from in here. I say, I just hit your kid. Right. Her husband just about shot me, okay? That's the look. But if you're going to tear apart your husband, how are you going to look at it? How would you look at something?
No, that's not right.
Okay, fine.
You have me giggling.
Someone grabs and gives me my niece or my nephew for the first time. Yes. Someone touches my niece the wrong way, I'll kill him. In the body language, everything changes, but the reaction comes from within the gut. So when you're talking to models and you're looking to elicit certain reactions, certain looks, tell them things that feed those reactions. Don't say, I'm like, I kidnapped your puppy or kitty. People get sensitive about that stuff. But the idea is the reactions come from within here. So any model can pull off any look you're looking for. As an artist, if you want those looks, say, hey, I want you to think of your little puppy. Or, hey, I want you to think of an erotica ball. I want you to think of happy unicorns. All those suggestive words help elicit the reactions that you're going to be looking for, which will all in turn come from your eyes. Within the eyes, once that reaction comes out of here and comes into the eyes, the rest of the body language will change and mimic those behaviors. Little tips, if you want. Thighs are the big ones.
Kind of a thought and suggestion on that as well. If you're tired, your eyes will be dead regardless. If your eyes are feeling dead or the photographer's not getting that, take a break. Take 10 minutes, get some water, let them relax, because otherwise, you got nothing.
In theory, that goes back to the sleep thing.
Yeah.
We know that never happens. Theory sounds good though. The other big thing with modeling is your jawline positioning. A lot of models are worried about, regardless if you're this big or if you're not. You worry about the double chins, you worry about the lines, you worry about the curves when you're turning under the jawline. A couple things to help with that. When you're looking towards the camera, you're doing headshots. If there's a bar that goes from the back of the head imaginary-wise and comes out the bottom of the jaw, you put that right at the bottom lens of the camera or slightly below it. If you ever pull up, you ever see people pull their head up, they're usually in high school. Don't do that. This part is never sexy. I don't care what you are or not wearing. But like this, not sexy. So to do that, just drop the head down. Gets that straight line and gets that acknowledgement you're looking towards something. That will get rid of any lines you have right here by doing posturing, by pulling back. That'll clear up any neckline issues you have. You turn sideways and you turn your head, pull your shoulders back. Yeah. When you pull your shoulders back, you clear up this whole line right through here. Makes a big difference, regardless of the model, regardless of the size. Simply pulling your shoulders back. It pulls up the chest, but it also cleans up your entire line across your upper chest. This works for guys or for women as well. So then we'll.
We also have to watch how near to the too low.
Right. And then these are general tips. If you're looking down, you're looking to have a draw up look, something like that gets a little more specific. If you're looking to shoot that specifically, that gets into a little different thing. Any questions are coming in a minute. Okay. All right. We'll have more questions at the end. Got a couple more things as well. Also with the arms, it's a big thing. I find this with a lot of photographers. I've seen a lot of pictures in the past. When you're leaning back on anything, back on my hand, you put any weight on your arm, your shoulders are going to pop, your triceps are going to pop. That fast. Unless you're going for muscle mags, you don't want that. If someone's leaning back, you want all the weight right here in your core. It does not have to be comfortable, but if it's not comfortable, it's going to be a good shot. But when there's no pressure on the arms and you're simply leaning back, it becomes nice, natural, smooth. Just something to be aware of, especially for photographers, but for modeling, when you're leaning back, no pressure on your hands. This also applies to clothing line as well, also for skin. If you're putting your hands on your skin, do it really soft. As soon as your fingers touch your fabric, touch your skin, stop. Yeah, no gripping, no hard presses, because some women, they have white clothes, they push in on it, mess up the whole contour of their clothes, basically distracts away from this. What you're looking to shoot, you're looking to capture the best of a person. So you're these little tips to help not have those issues. So again, when your fingers touch anything, stop. Minimal pressure. That's it. I mean, as soon as you touch it, you're done. Everything else can be in your core. If you're at angles and you're torquing, you're weird and it hurts, smile. They're gonna feel like a shot for you. And that's one of the best times it's gonna happen. Fashion aspects with hips and the hands. There's a general belt line. You want your hands up above the belt lines, especially if you're twisting and torquing. You want them slightly above the hips or at the thinnest point. There's a lot of things to be said with hands and line positioning, lines the body. If you ever drop them down low, it elongates the entire torso, elongates the arms, not flattering. So by pulling them up right here, you've got the thinnest point of the waist right here. You still get the curves of the body, but you're good in just hand positioning where it's just nice, subtle, out of the way. Again, very soft. Thumbs back, hands on the tops of the hips. Easy going for photography. When it comes to arms, this is a fun one. See this happen a lot. Not pretty. You'll never see them in deodorant commercials. You'll never see them in shampoo commercials for a reason. A, they're illegal, which is kind of funny. But it's odd, but it is true. You'll never see someone doing this with deodorant. Think of any deodorant commercials, you'll never see it. It's always on sticks or paper or whatever. It's illegal to do. It's funny. But anyways, the point of this, when you're having arms up with models, the arm facing towards closest to the camera, you don't want. For the aspect right here, this could be a nice white area generally, hopefully not hairy unless you're in Boulder. Sorry.
I only do one show a night.
Or Brand's trying to do it. If you're gonna have your arms up, have the back arm up, but the other one, the front one down. This is going to do is going to help provide a frame. When visually you're going across the body this way, it'll provide a nice frame on the back side without saying hi. When your arms are up towards the cameras or even straight on up towards like this, the eyes automatically will be drawn down to the armpits, so pulled down versus actually looking up to the model. The idea with photography and any imaging, you want up. You want to bring everything up with people because these are the people, this is the stuff that makes you shine. With hair things, you're turned this way, and you have all the hair around this way. Thing is, disadvantage is something like this. Visually, the entire body is one this way. Visually, you're looking at it this way, scanning down, all the way across. When you have a hair on the front side of the shoulder close to the camera, you hit the hair, you stop. You don't see anything else. Simple fix. Pull the hair all the way to the back side. Reason being, you get the shoulders back, you get the clean lines through here, you get the nice skin lines through here. Visually, it comes across the face, down the body, back up, across the body, and stops. But this hair becomes a bookend for the back side people. Anybody that chicks with long hair. It's something that just really applies. So just be conscious of that when you're getting shot, when you're modeling and you're posing. It's a detail that a lot of people overlook, but it's the details that count. So, general tips. Okay, this will go into a combination of photographers and models part, but there's lessons to be learned on both sides. If you're a model and you're talking to photographers and you're getting to know them, you're getting the first shoot, it's a cold shoot, what have you, on both sides, spend about 2 minutes. The lesson I learned within this, I learned a long time ago from my mom, doing a practice. If you talk to a patient, say, hey, how you doing? And you're rushed, you got 30 seconds. The patient or the person, the model, feels like, I didn't get to say what I wanted to say. You wait 2 minutes. Shut up for 2 minutes and listen to what someone has to say. And they will usually tell you a story, they'll tell you something that'll be less than 2 minutes. And they'll be done. And then they'll be relaxed and ready to go for a shoot. So if you're a photographer and you're asking a model, so tell me a little bit about you. Don't need to hear about all boyfriends, ex-relationships, girlfriends, any of that other stuff. General, how you doing? Keep it within general 2 minutes. You got a little bit of feedback on both sides from the photographers and the models. So it's just the time, respect for each other. For the photographers, there'll be some tips for the models at the end with this, but with photographers, we're all unique. We all have unique styles. Everybody is different, everybody's got their experiences, and everybody's to be respected in that. And that same goes said for models as well. When you have a camera in your hands, you've got to be aware of it. You've got to be aware for yourself, for the models, for the professionals, for the journalists, for the community. For anybody that sees you with a camera, you have an obligation to be your best at doing what you do. Regardless of how your style is, it doesn't matter. You got to be an obligation to yourself to be able to pull out the best you can when you have a camera in your hands. With that being said, when you're working with models and working with people in general, chat with them. Everybody's got stories. Every single one of you have stories. Talk with them a minute or two, and you find out a little bit about a person. Then you start shooting the person. They're not objects, they're not toys, they're not trinkets, they're not in and out, done with. They're not disposable. They're people, just like all of us. Makes sense. But yeah, you get the idea. You're shooting a person when you're shooting. Sometimes when you're in a rush, at an agency shoot on a runway, here, into the night, we're definitely in a rush to get a lot of shots done. While it's important to be quick and punctual and just timely to get stuff done, it's also important to take that extra 20 seconds, extra 30 seconds, an extra 20, 30 seconds to get those shots right. Make sure the posture is good, the shoulders are back, the hair is off to the right side. taking those extra detail seconds just to look at eggs across. Taking those extra seconds and those extra steps to ensure a good shot is done right the first time. You don't have to spend time afterwards, post-production work. It's done right the first time.
Well, you don't have to take as many shots.
Sure. And sure. Also, when you're working with models, and I do this a lot. I'm a very hands-on type of photographer personally. If you touch a model at all, you better have asked. And if you're a model and they didn't ask, address it. Ask every time. I don't care if you worked with a model hundreds of times. I've worked with Kristen a lot. I still ask her even today. Case in point, I was working, doing photos here at the Jam. Moving models quick. It's just, I just position, I move people. Got to a model and I asked her if I can move her hips, and I did. And I touched her hips some way, the wrong way. I did not know. I did not have an opportunity to talk with her to get to know her, because we were moving at the very end of the night trying to get stuff done fast. And she froze that fast. And she had been raped. And I knew it because she froze, and her body language and her eyes, the look she had in her eyes, I saw it and I knew. But that was a personal check for me to step back. Every single time you touch a model, ask. Let them know exactly where you're touching, what you're going to do. General hands, outside hands on the hips. Never grab, don't need to do anything like that. Nice and soft, wherever you're going to touch, let them know. So it's important to always, always ask.
One of the things I do, Rich, is actually pose for the model as well. Like if I can't get her to understand the pose I want, I'll do the pose in front of her that I want to see. And then if she still doesn't get it, we'll fine tune from there.
As a photographer, it's probably not as sexy being like, do this.
It's not. It's kind of funny. It's a stress reliever as well.
Yeah, that does help there too.
I agree. See, every model said has an individual story. Take the time to notice it. Their details, their characters, everything about them. Take a minute or two before you start shooting anybody. Before you even put the camera in your hand, stop and just look. Okay, cool. Scan a model. And tell them you're just looking at them to see everything, because everybody has different skin tones, different lights, different angles, different shapes. As a photographer, when you start seeing a person, the shots start coming through well. If you're working with a model and the model's in as well, if you got a vibe with the photographer and it's just not right, stop. At any point, you can always stop. Photographer as well, if you're not getting a vibe with the model, we're going to take a break for a second. Put the stuff down. Have some communication, have a little dialogue. Sometimes there's communication steps that are missed that can affect an entire shoot. So just be aware of that. Camera angles. Camera angles. When models are being shot, photographers are shooting. I'm 6'4". I'm guilty of this as much as anybody. Be careful when you start pointing down. If you start shooting down towards a model, especially if a model is standing, she's 5'5" and I'm this tall shooting her, standing up, her legs are going to shrink like a midget. That fast. Better. Shoulders are like raw. To alleviate that issue, bring the camera.
That's another great one. When you shoot down on the hip, then you've got this gigantic hip, and the rest of you's all tiny.
When you're shooting, have a camera angle here. That does, it's going to proportion up the entire body, but still giving homage to the upper body. Unless you're shooting legs, then shoot legs, and that's a whole other shoot. So if you're shooting and you see your lens tip down, just drop. A couple inches makes all the difference in the world. Just for the perspective. General things as well, just be careful with the lights. When your models are standing up, everybody has different shapes, different contours, nose, cheeks, lips, eyes, whether it's outdoors or indoors. Be aware of the shadows. Put your camera down and actually look at someone. Have them turn their head this way, turn this way to see the person. Shadows this way versus shadows this way can be night and day on different people. So just something to be aware of with that. A fun trick, really fun trick. This goes to photographers and models. A lot of these are general tips. This is one of my specific fun tricks you can do. When you're working with models and you're doing headshots, and you're eliciting a very specific reaction. You want a rage, you want a sexiness, you want a comforting teddy bear look. Have the model sit there, close their eyes, sitting down, standing up, what have you. Zoom the camera in right here and have your finger on the trigger quickly. Because what they're going to do is sit there, calm them down, 2 or 3 good deep breaths, get that image in their head, thinking kitty cats. Think kitty cats. Where's the camera? Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Think of the fuzzy, the soft aspect of kitty cats. When you watch them when they're breathing. You can see when they're breathing in and breathing out. So on this last breath, I want you to keep your eyes closed. Right. I want you to breathe all the way out and let the air all the way out. As soon as you let it all the way out, look at the camera. Okay. Shoot that fast. As soon as their eyes open, snap those shots. The eyes are going to be wet and the emotion is going to be as raw as you can get. It is a fun shot, regardless of which angle you're looking at head-wise. If you're a model and you want an illicit reaction, everything has to be centered, everything has to be calm, and you take a deep breath and you blow all the air out. You open those eyes, that shot happens that fast. So, that's a little personal fun tip. In the last bit, we'll talk about some red flags. This goes for models and for photographers. Here in the community, in the jam, I work to ensure that the models are first. Period. Models are always first here. Photographers come second, photographers come third. I'm going to ensure to work with photographers, and all photographers over here, to get the best ones. People that have good reputations, good websites, have a little bit of a reputation behind them. You'll find really fast if you're a photographer and you screw up, you can get blacklisted that fast. Not only in this community, but other communities. And there's a lot of different reaches with the amount of the diversity of the crowd that we have here. Kristin will talk about some of this stuff as well when she goes out on private shoots. If you have any issues or red flag issues that come up with photographers, step back and question them immediately. If Kristin goes out to shoots, some of the things you
Well,
feel
so
about
one of the things I always talk to the photographer on the phone at least once to set up say a coffee meeting. I always meet the photographer in a public place initially. I don't just show up at their studio or their house or what have you without having met them face to face in a public setting. That way I know who they, I have a better vibe on who they are and what they're about, whether they're actually a photographer. The next thing is I always ask about whether or not I can have an escort at the shoot. And I have had photographers say no escorts.
red flag.
No shoot. Now that doesn't mean that I always take an escort with me, but if they refuse to let me even have someone there, then I don't need to be there. And the same goes for the photographers. As a photographer, you can always tell the model that you're going to have an escort there. If you're worried about equipment or you're worried about whatever, let the models know, hey, I have an assistant, they're gonna be there. You're welcome to bring an escort with you if you'd like. And that way both people have a backup. Both people have some accountability. I always leave my husband with phone numbers, addresses, email addresses of whoever I'm shooting with. Usually I have 2 or 3 other friends that also know who I'm shooting with. And I call when I get on location, and I call when I'm leaving location. And that way, nothing, there's no 4-hour time period where I disappeared. We've had, on Model Mayhem, we've had girls in Colorado go missing from going to shoots. And, it's not, I'm sure it happens everywhere, but it's preventable from the aspect of just a little bit of extra work. if people know where you're shooting and know who you're shooting with. And, you know, if you can get a friend to go with you and shoot with you, all the better. 2 models for one, you know, great job. Then you've got, you know, 2 people, you've each got your backup, and you get to have a fun time. And a lot of, you know, you can shoot solo and together and get great results.
General thing as well, trust your gut. You're a lot smarter than you think you are. And it's not a sarcastic statement whatsoever. It is dead serious. If you have any yellow flags, find a big front. But you can. And if you did, I'd show up. Have that escort, have that companion, have someone keeping an eye on you. That's a lot of the big tips. There's obviously a little more specific stuff. Depending on the specific type of shoots. If you do have questions of certain styles of shoots or certain shoots in general, feel free to ask me. I'm going to be here painting tonight. Chris will be painting as well.
But also, discuss what style of shoot it is. Have it nailed down. That way, if you show up and all the, you know, you've agreed to do 3 outfits, and you show up and all of a sudden the photographer's like, well, you know, I was thinking about it, and I'd really like to have you, you know, naked on this bed. No, that's not what we agreed on. Sorry, you can book me another time. You know, if it's not what you signed up for, walk away. There are so many photographers, there's so many other opportunities. It's not worth it to compromise your own personal integrity for that one picture.
Within that being said, what are your boundaries? Models can ask that, photographers can ask that. I've learned that through Burning Man. You learn that with a healthy amount of respect towards each individual. Ask a photographer, what are your boundaries? What are you comfortable with? If all of a sudden I just start doing this, this, and this, are you cool with that? Photographers ask the models, be like, okay, if I'm looking at doing this or this, are you comfortable with it? And if they're not, and even if you're in the middle of the shoot and they say they are comfortable, and then they stop and or freeze, you better freeze. You better put your camera down, stop. Because you can always pick the shoot back up. But if you continue, it's pressing your luck beyond what you don't want. Escort may have an issue with it, a community may have an issue with it, because word will get around fast. So, little stuff to be aware of. Questions? Yes. That's a lot of the big tips.
I'd like to actually, I'm going to come on, we're filming this because we're going to put it out eventually, but when it comes to escorts, this is what happened to me. So pick your escort wisely. Really important. I did a shoot out in Erie, and the model wanted an escort, and I said absolutely no problem whatsoever. Model turns up with escort. Escort was A, boyfriend, B, her manager. C, he knew far more than I did about photography. And D, he was a pain in the ass. I will put it in no other way. And the shoot was horrible. Absolutely
photographers had that.
horrible. Models, pick your escort with care. Girlfriend, perfect. Absolutely perfect. Someone who's happy to stand there and not say a word for 2 hours. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. But it's going to go down the hill as soon as the escort opens their mouth and says, you know the shot that we should really try. Then you're going to be nose-diving straight into the mud. It's going to go downhill from there on out.
Or if you have an overprotective boyfriend that then is like,
yes,
even if the model's okay with it, but all of a sudden the significant other is not okay with the shoot. It's worthless.
yeah, it goes downhill. You just both wasted your time and money.
Ways to alleviate that. I know I'm not a small photographer, so I have a little more control, I guess, in that aspect. But as a professional aspect, if anybody's shooting or getting paid to do a shoot, you have a model, I have a boyfriend of a model come in. This is for the female aspect. You have a boyfriend of a model come in. Sit in the room, grab your iPad, play. If she needs something, she'll tell you. Sit in the room. Or if you're going to be in the room, if it's a hotel room or an outdoor event or something like that, sit over there and you acknowledge that companion, that escort personally. Be like, I am good at what I do. I'm hired for what I do. Let me do what I do. Please just stand over there. It's cut and dry. You're not playing, you're not part of the shoot. Thanks for being here. Go ahead.
Well, one other story to tell. Oh, sorry.
From a photographer standpoint, if you have escorts on site, have your own people. I have known people where the escorts have stolen from the photographer or the studio, and you don't notice that they pocketed something as you're doing your shoot. So it's if there's going to be, if the model's going to have an escort, not a bad thing to have somebody there, an assistant, just keep things on the up.
Yeah. Also, this happened to a model I photographed this summer, Lindsay out in Greeley. I won't use her last name. She told me the story. She drove all the way from Greeley to Denver, met the photographer. 10 minutes into the shoot, he turned to her and said, "You're just not what I'm looking for. You may as well go." And she had to drive all the way back to Greeley. 10 minutes, no shots. So, treat your models with the utmost respect. She's not what you're looking for. Fine. It's digital photography, guys. It costs nothing. Click, click, click for an hour. Everybody's happy. It's really simple. She would not tell me the photographer's name because I did say I'd get his legs broken, but that's another story. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
David?
Also, as artists, having boyfriends at body painting events sucks horribly. We basically are out there, we are touching with a brush, the models, and having a jealous boyfriend or having people in the crowd watching a body painting going on, it can turn sour really quickly, especially if alcohol's involved and things like that, like at actual events. So things to think about if you are going to be painted at an event, not necessarily for photography, but at any event. Bring a girlfriend, bring somebody who's not a boyfriend, because there's that jealousy factor that does come in, and the models aren't as comfortable being painted with their boyfriend standing there with his arms crossed and just, really reacting. I've had many events go sour quickly where the boyfriend just gets that jealousy, and because their girlfriend's getting all the attention and they're just standing back, and it goes bad really quick. So please, no boyfriend, no husbands at those kind of events. If we have that as a rule for the jam here, please don't bring boyfriends, girlfriends, anyone that can be jealous. Bring a friend, somebody that you're comfortable with, which is not, that significant other. Unless you guys are cool with it, in this case, fine. It's all good, but try to avoid that.
And this goes off to another, just more of the jam community base. Dave has me in charge of photographers because a little bit. I don't care, and not in a disrespectful way. I do what I do, and I'm good at it. But I believe the models are first when it comes to the community here. My job is I do know photographers. I know a lot of people in the communities, not only here but other communities. I keep up on who's who and who's doing what. We've brought it down to where we're just doing six photographers now. People complain, sorry, they can yell at me. I don't care. The idea is for the models, we're going to have 3 progression and 3 studio photographers. We'll go through them, we'll randomly switch them up. There'll be some regulars, but there'll also be just people that will be switching up each different jam. Last time we were here, it got a little chaotic with photographers. I've been doing this jam with David for 1.5 years plus. I've seen it good, I've seen it This is meant to be a good community. This community as a whole is a family group. It's how I look at it, it's how I treat it. I'm going to do my part to ensure that everybody has a fun time. If you're here, you're not shooting, you're participating. Kind of works the same way like a Burning Man. Don't just go there and be a spectator. It's not acceptable. You gotta play. Paint, be painted. If you have a boyfriend or something like that come along, fine. They're gonna get painted. Or there's newbie paints that they can paint. Doesn't have to be full body, doesn't have to be nude, it can be a face paint or paints, what have you. But it's still the idea of participation. That's the fun thing about this jam that has swayed up and down a little bit. But it'll definitely be nice to see it come back to that, especially in this winter season when there's a lot of people with a lot of opportunity to grow and get bigger. That's what you think.
I have a question if you'd like to address about photographing more artistically instead of photographing the models for body painting with like glamour shot look, but actually like photographing them so they're illustrating the artwork as much as the model.
That would be that. That's, I guess, part of the idea with the photographers. I mean, there's always a photographer or two that pushes that creative side, and I tried the more artistic side than just the ta-da, boss. And you're right, it is the art. And if there are artists that do paint with models, say, hey, I want this showcase. You know you're good at, I know you have a lot of opportunity for that. Talk to photographers. Say, hey, I would like this showcased and then with this model, get these type of shots. Let's make it happen. There's plenty of photographers here that have the opportunity and the skill and the knowledge to know how to do it. So.
If you're a model, it is really, really good and helpful to tell the photographer what you want. Say, this is a better side of me. This is the art we want to do. We want at least one shot like this. Because a photographer can adapt to that, but if no direction is ever given, the photographer can't follow that direction.
A lot of these tips are given for the photographers as well. Just as much for the models as it is for the photographers.
Well, one of the things I do is actually look at the model and the paint and say, okay, and I talk to him. It's like, okay, where are you painted? What do you have? What if the artist isn't there? You know, is your shoulder done? You have something on the back? You have something on your leg? Your eyelid's done? You know, and because I want to be able to capture those things both for the artist as well as the model, and then be able to see what can I do artistically to capture them as well. So I try to do both. You know, capture the art and then capture an image that I want as well. Because I think you can satisfy both masters, right? So.
But part of that is I know I was neither the photographer nor the model nor the artist on this one, but the artist had done something in a horizontal design, and the photographer was like, well, your shadowing's all wrong. It's like, yeah, because you're not putting them horizontal like they're supposed to be. I mean, you know, it's...
But that's the obligation as the photographers.
Yeah.
If you see it, shoot it. We all come here with certain levels of skill sets. Bring them to the table. If you think you can bring something to the table to improve the model, improve the artwork, improve the lighting, bring it. As long as you be comfortable, articulate it, be very specific on what you're trying to do, shouldn't be a problem. Yes.
I'm actually much more familiar, even though I'm not a photographer, when I'm looking at a camera of what I want to tell them to do. So from the model standpoint, what are some things that I should be asking the photographer or telling the photographer when they say, what do you want?
What do you mean? A little more specific. Sorry, a little
Like somebody said over here that as a model, you should be telling the photographer what you want. What are some things that I should be telling them? Because when they're like, hey, tell me what you need, what you want, I don't know. Like, whatever you're looking for. And it just becomes like this circle of, I don't know what to tell them because I can't see me.
Some of that's building a suggested portfolio. So go online, find pictures of stuff that you'd like to potentially recreate. I have an entire folder in my Dropbox that's all poses that I think are cool, or there's one aspect of this photo that's just amazing, and use it for inspiration. Use it so that you can start to decide what you like. And then when you go through your photos later, you can go, you know, I looked really good doing that, I didn't look so good doing this, you know? And you can kind of start to remember that. Some of that's just practice.
It is a lot of practice.
Do it in the mirror, at home. I mean, you know, or at the gym. Get the gym to like, you know, and do it.
We all know those people be like, just go work out over there.
I mean, I get to do that at work because I'm surrounded by mirrors and I'm naked. So, you know, I get lots of practice at it. But
practice is the key thing. All these tips that I put forward along the body positioning, looks, stuff like that, tens of thousands of headshots and body shots. I know what everybody looks like naked. I know what everybody's expressions and potentials of what they're able to do and what they're able to pull off. I've seen it. These are general tips to build up you. If you're confident and comfortable in you, there's nothing sexier, regardless of what you are or are not wearing. You've got a confidence in here, and you can pull off walking up in front of any camera and then boom, pull it off quickly.
I was watching.
I know, I caught myself. I know. If you can walk up confidently in front of anything, in front of the camera, and pull off a position, pull off an attitude, it is not a cocky attitude or an arrogant attitude, but a confident attitude. The shots are going to look good. But that will not only translate for photography or getting photographed, or being photographing or being photographed, but when you go into any conversations, in any setting, you walk into it, you walk into a room, you carry a certain level of presence. There's something to be said for that. And if you don't have it, it is obtainable. It is practice. It is getting out there. It is putting your face forward, putting your body forward, putting you forward in front of the cameras to showcase the best you.
Rich, can you talk just a little bit about the best positioning for showing off the art so it looks good? Because I've seen great pictures of art, but the model is like, oh, that doesn't work at all. So just a little bit on that. What you would recommend?
It's hard without no workout.
Right.
That is, very difficult question.
It is, because everybody's artwork's bodies, every body is different, every personality is different, every artist, every style, every brushstroke is different. I guess that comes to the part when you're talking with models and you're working with models the first time. Stop. You don't have to have a camera in your hand shooting or anything like that. Observe. And let them know that you're observing so you don't turn into a special person.
More of the suggested poses that would actually show off.
So like, say I had a corset.
Corset. Look forward. Weight on this leg. So you got bend the knee. There. You're going to get a little hip pop right there. Females know what I'm talking about. Think of a Beyonce pop. If you got a hip pop, it's going to be a good thing regardless of your shape or your size. When your hips are pulled off this way, about 45-degree angle, and you have your upper body towards the camera, you're getting a torque line across the body right through here. If you're getting a whole torque line across the body where you feel like you're pulling and elongating your body up, abs will come in, chest comes up, shoulders will come back. And I'll be flipped to the other side.
No, because this shoulder's closer to the camera.
The camera's over here.
It's right here.
It's right there.
Right now, the camera's here.
So what you're going to do with this, you're going to have the straight line that'll elongate the entire body, but you're going to have the curves through here, through the hip, chest, head. So you've got the sweeping motion going through the whole body. So you got to
make sure that they're not leaned back, so you're not getting this. It doesn't matter how skinny your model is. If she leans back too far, you're going to get happy little lines.
And that's a good thing for
really
models
gross
to be aware of.
Yeah.
It's because everybody's skin reacts differently. Know where your skin starts to pucker. And that's just experience. I mean, just be really aware of what. Look at the pictures you get back and say, wow, my neck looks terrible in that. What am I doing there as opposed to this picture where it looks great?
If there's neck issues, I can almost guarantee 9 times out of 10, posture's the issue.
Yep.
Pull that posture up. You got those extra 2 inches. I walk up to models all the time. 2 inches. Get higher. That's going to elongate the body. That's going to get rid of these lines almost instantaneously along the body, regardless of the curves. Add that extra 2 inches, gets rid of them as well.
If you're doing anything with legs, point your toes. Let me show you. So if you point your toes, you're going to get a much nicer shape than if you're like, yeah, with your toes all splayed out. Or even just like that. That versus,
And with half your reactions that just was like, you know what she's talking about, it's right, all right?
Yeah, Rich and I were going through my folder of inspiration pictures, and I was like, because like one girl had her toes like this all over the place, and I was just like, why would you do that? Like, the rest of the photo was amazing, but point your toes, and why would you have that in your portfolio? Like,
aspects with body jams, we're talking about portfolios. Everybody as a model is very vulnerable. It is not a bad thing. It is not saying anything about with models in general. But walking around wearing nothing or next to nothing and having cameras and taking photographs of their bodies, there's a vulnerability that is just in this whole environment. As a photographer, you have to respect that at all times. If you have your camera and you're walking around, better be pointed at the ground. Because not only do other photographers see that, but the models see it. Not only within 5 feet of you, but 20 feet of you. You can tell if someone has their camera up and at their point, and then that model gets nervous or anxious, don't do it. Just keep it simple in that aspect. Totally saw a shiny light over there and totally got distracted with my thought. Squirrel?
Well, and from the model and the artist perspective, if you see photographers walking around with their cameras up, just say something to them. Just be like, hey, you know, it's kind of against etiquette for you to do that. It really is if you know, put your camera down or ask before taking photos.
That's what it was. At the model's perspective, if you're getting photographed not only here but outside of here, and you're in a potentially provocative positions, and unless you're specifically going to shoot for that, but it's a general thing. If you're in a potential provocative situation, if you get photographed, you have the right to ask the photographer, I want to see that photograph. And I also want that photograph deleted if you don't like it. And don't be a snot about it, saying, oh, I don't like the way my eyes looked in that one. No, but if there's vulgar or unhealthy pictures taken of you, you have the right to say, don't do that. But also as a photographer, if you're shooting in a position where those risque photos have a potential of being there, tell them exactly what you're shooting and why you're shooting. Take it and then show them. When you show a model and you develop a trust relationship, things can go farther. But if there's a trust is broken right off the get-go, you're never going to have it. So, just be aware. That's about all I have. You know, pushing time a little bit. The jam's going to start in 15-ish minutes. You guys have any other questions? By chance? Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully you picked up a tip or 2 or 10 to better yourself.
It's not about this, it's about that. Are we filming the jam tonight, or that's
No.
just for this?
Just for this.
Okay.
One of the things I do when I work with someone who hasn't been photographed before is when I tell them I'm going to talk to them about how to position them, especially with women models, I try to tell them I'm not judging you. I'm not telling you if you're overweight or not overweight, or if you look bad. I said I want to position your body in such a way you're going to like your photographs, and I'm very careful about that because women do have a lot of self-image issues, especially when they're bare, in nothing but paint. So I want them to realize that it's not me as a photographer trying to judge them. It's me trying to position them to get flattering photographs.
Another tip with photographers as well, when you have these memory cards, if you have a card specifically for the jam, lock in a few of your best shots after you go through them, lock in a few of your favorite photographs. So if you come up and you have a new model for the first time, be like, this is who I am, this is who I shoot for, this is what I've shot, these are some of the work, some of the styles that I like to do. Everybody's got different style, different flavor, have you? But having a little bit of, like on your dial, a little bit of rolling images of previous shoots never hurts. It automatically gets a little more comfort, it gets a little more professionalism, gets a little more trust within the models. It's something to do. And if you don't have a jam-specific card that you shoot with, that you'd like to save that to, save some of your best works, some of your best shots from weddings or events or what have you, just to show that you have an idea of what you're doing.
And on that note, don't have, 35 pictures. Have a good 6 or 7, something you can quickly flip through, because they don't want to spend, 15 minutes going through this, all these photos.
Very true.
Have it nice and quick and concise. Just you want to look at 6 pictures, that's fine. That way you got a nice overall, image. Also, if you guys are staying for the jam, be sure to sign in with Meg and take care of that. And also, don't forget about this lovely little tip jar over here, in case anybody feels that they would like to contribute to our wonderful presenters. But
I have one last tip too.
Yeah.
Especially for new models. If you're not so sure and you're not feeling it, just keep in mind that some artists took several hours out of their Ignite to paint you, to do something fantastic on you, that you were worth their time and you were worth this experience. And just keep that in mind. It's not to make you arrogant, but it's just to remind you that you're special. Your body's gorgeous. Your body is now a canvas. You are a work of art. And have that come out in the photography, because take pride in what you're having done. And the artists are taking pride in what they're doing.
On that same note, I remember a jam, I don't know, somewhere 4 to 6 months ago, where one of the artists created this great masterpiece, front and back, and then the person didn't want to have any of their back photographs. Yes. And all of us were like, but it's their artwork. That's why you are here. You are their canvas, and so don't.
Yeah.
It is fine for models to say, can you only shoot here down? I'm a teacher. I have, things. It's okay if we just shoot the art and not, don't get any of the face. And then show them, we got these pictures, this part down. Please share the art. That's really important. And it's
that's part of the communicating with them.
yes.
There are some people that are definitely more elite positions, I guess, within our community. The generous way I say it, from either from military or from government, political teachers, headshots, full naked body shots. If they ever got out, just doesn't go well. It doesn't do good for them, for the photographer, for the community as a whole. That goes into a pride not only for the models to be an awesome canvas. There's a lot of pride within the artists that bring the art to the models. There's also should be pride within the photography to capture that canvas, to capture that model.
And if people are concerned, we can paint their face so that you cannot recognize who they are. Or, bring a mask, something that's simple as a masquerade
With a
mask.
paper bag, we could just stick it.
Put some eyelashes on it.
I would like to add, though, that this is still the model's control. They are the one that is out there. If it really is something that you are there and it starts to bother you, don't get it photographed. I mean, talk with the artist, talk with the photographer to see if it can be done in a particular way. But you are the person that is going to be captured in that image. Don't do it if you are not comfortable with it. I would rather have my art not be photographed than have it photographed by somebody who's miserable by the experience. So.
And don't tag anybody on Facebook if they don't know who, if you guys don't have permission beforehand. Always make sure that everybody knows that,
Okay.
Like I'm very soft, quiet, spoken time. So we need to set up maybe better communication between our models, and right off the bat, as artists ask, how much are you willing to get photographed? Because I would be, really upset if I couldn't have pictures of what I just spent hours doing.
That can be easily remedied tonight.
Well, that's one thing when I photograph, actually, I always try to do is I always try to get the model a social media friendly photograph. And it's up, if they want to post it, they post it. If they don't, they don't. But I have them cover nipple, crotch, whatever. So there's a couple that if they want to, they're free to. They don't have to adulter the picture. They don't have to change it. It's I think it's safe to use as is.
And that's
I don't.
as a drape across.
Yep. Yep.
I do that all the time.
Yep. Or turn, a bare back, something like that. Yeah.
Side, a simple side pose like this, where shadow lines, if the light's coming from the backside, you get the body to get the curves. Be careful as a photographer of lines of the hip lines, because if the light's in there, that'll be accentuated. Not a bad thing, but just to be aware of it. But simply just to go with shadows. The implied nude is incredibly sexy, and with art on it, it's even better. You don't have to show anything to be sexy. It doesn't matter if you're wearing nothing. It can still be photographed in a way that is just like, without showing it. So, that's what I got.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you both.
Yes, thank you, guys.